Hi. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're doing okay out there in this crazy world of ours. I thought I'd just give you a short little video announcing a new series that's coming to the channel starting on Monday. So actually a day or two from now, depending on when I upload this. But coming up to the channel, I'm going to be doing a run of Pokemon Black, and it's going to be a randomizer Chesslock. Now, the first thing I'm going to get out of the way, just in case nobody knows, Randomizer Chesslock is going to be a variant of a Nuzlocke. So a Nuzlocke has three main rules to it. First rule is, any route, cave, forest, anything like that you walk into for the first time, the first Pokemon that you encounter in any of those routes is going to be the only one you can attempt to catch and add to your team. If you succeed, great, it's on your team for however long. And if you don't catch it, or if it runs away or anything like that, then you cannot try to encounter anything else in that route and attempt to catch it. It's just done. Rule number 2, which is the most important one, is that if your Pokemon on your team faints at any time for any reason, it is considered dead and you cannot use it for the rest of the game. Which, to those that haven't played Nuzlocke before, it might not sound all that, might not sound all that bad, but I'm telling you, if you have one on your party for a long time, it hurts. And that's why you see these things on YouTube all the time. But and then rule number 3 is that you must nickname it. It kind of ties into rule number 2 to kind of give you that special attachment to the creature that you caught and that you use for the whole game, because when you lose them, it just stinks that much worse. So those are the main rules of a Nuzlocke. Now the randomizer variant is going to be pretty standard, mainly because the Chesslock portion is going to throw a wrench in this whole thing. But so basically the only things that I'm randomizing in this game is that all Pokemon in the field, all wild Pokemon basically, are going to be completely randomized. It's not going to be like a 1-for-1 kind of deal. They're all just going to be scrambled. So I could find a Ho-Oh on the first route and then maybe find a Caterpie as a legendary or something like that. But it's all going to be shuffled around. Second one is that all of Trainer's Pokemon are going to be randomized as well. All Elite Four members, all gym battles, all rival battles is all going to be just completely randomized. Also, there's not going to be like a strength to strength kind of thing. It's all going to be all over the place. It could face, a Lugia right away. It could face a Caterpie that's like level 75. I'm leaving it all out on the table. Also, TMs are going to be randomized. So basically, any move is fair game. And then also items on the field will be randomized. I will try to take out some of the weaker items, because I know as generations move on, there tends to be a lot of items that are non-desirable, like, mail and things like that. So we'll be getting those out of there. Chesslock. Just like on a chessboard, you're going to have 16 pieces. You're going to have 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 knights, and 2 bishops, and then you're going to have a king and a queen as well. But let's start with the pawns. They only have a couple of stipulations, but they're a couple of pretty big ones. Basically, your pawns cannot evolve into their final forms at any point, nor can they be a Pokemon that can't evolve at all, because you don't want to have like a legendary as a pawn. That would be kind of OP, really. But anyway, so it could be any Pokemon that's either stage 1 or basic form. It just can't be a final form. And to assist myself with that, I'm going to have 8 Everstones in my bag so that they can carry one at any time. That way we don't have to keep mashing B every time they attempt to evolve. But that's another rule that kind of comes along with it, is that these pawns won't be able to hold items either. But there's going to be no rules on their movesets or stats or anything like that. They can learn whatever they want, basically because they're going to be underpowered anyway. And there's also some possibility for promotion for pawns to become like bigger pieces, which I'll explain later, but it'll be kind of tough. But I'll let you guys know about that later on. For now, we're going to get into those bigger pieces. We'll start with the rooks. There's only one rule with rooks. They can all be evolved. Everything that I speak about from this point on, they can all be evolved. The only one rule with rooks is they cannot learn a move over 60 base power. Rooks are, these castles on the chess piece. They're supposed to be defensive. So they're not going to have big attacking moves. Honestly, if I get a Pokemon with Technician, that would be the perfect Rook Pokemon, like a Caesar or something like that. But yeah, no moves over base 60 power. Next up is going to be, I'll go over the Knights. Basically, your Knights can learn physical moves, and they can learn any kind of move, whether it damages or not, that has stat-altering effects. So anything that lowers or raises attack, defense, it doesn't really matter. As far as like the opposing Pokemon goes, or even the Pokemon that's using it. If it alters stats in any way, it can use it. However, it cannot learn any move that gives status effects. It doesn't matter what it is. It cannot mess with like status effects in any way. Bishops are the exact opposite as knights. They can learn special attacks. They can learn any kind of special attacks, and they can learn any kind of attacks that give status, like poison, fire, paralysis, anything like that. But much like a knight, when it comes to its capabilities with statuses, bishops won't be able to do anything stat altering. So if there's a move on its list that like affects attack, defense, like raises or lower it in any way for any Pokemon, it cannot learn those moves. And then also when it comes to, no, I'll get to that rule at the end. Let's talk about the king and the queen first. So the queen doesn't have any stipulations at all. It can be whatever it is. It can do whatever it wants as far as move pool goes, as far as evolutions go. Everything's on the table. The only rule with the queen is that you can only have one in your 16 pieces at a time, and that plays into the promotion rule as far as pawns go. And then the last one, of course, is your king, and those have 3 gigantic rules. Well, 2 gigantic rules, but 3 anyway. The first rule I'll talk about is that it has to be in your party at all times. The reason it has to be in your party at all times is that it's your main piece. It's the starter that you choose. That's rule number 2. And the biggest one is that rule number 3 is that if your king dies at any point, the lock is over. So, gotta make sure your king survives. Hopefully, when you choose starters, or when I choose starters in this lock anyway, hopefully it's gonna be something that's powerful, that can take a lot of hits, something that doesn't have a quad weakness, but fingers crossed on that. Oh, a couple of last rules. I almost forgot the pawn promotion rule that I was talking about earlier. Basically, like, you know, in a standard chess game, if a pawn makes it to the end of the board, they can turn into any promotional piece that they want, as long as it's not a king, and I think you can only have 1 queen. I don't know if that's the regular rules in chess. But anyway, same rules apply when it comes to the Chesslock. However, the way that we're going to do that is that if you take a pawn into a gym battle, a rival battle, an Elite Four battle, I'm trying to list them all off in my head, but I'll put them to the side on the rules where I'm typing them out for you guys right now in the video. Basically, there's a couple of different battles that it can fight in, that if it fights it on its own, if it takes out every single Pokemon without shifting to anything else, if a pawn takes a battle like that out on its own, it can be promoted to one of those pieces. The only rule is that you can only have 1 queen at a time, so if you have a queen in your board already and it's still alive, then you can't make a queen. But you can make any of the other 3 pieces, just as long as it's not the king. And as far as your wild encounters, I almost forgot to mention is that we're also going to be implementing the dupes clause, the species clause, and the shiny clause. Dupes basically meaning that if you encounter a Pokemon that you caught in the wild and it's the same exact thing, then you can attempt to catch something else. And if you encounter something else that's in the same evolutionary line as something that you caught, that species clause, and you can also re-encounter. And then the third rule is a shiny clause, because if I'm crazy enough to encounter something full-out shiny, then you better believe it's going to be on the team somewhere. So basically means is that if I've already caught something on the route and I encounter a shiny on that same route, then I am allowed to catch it. But anyway, I think that covers everything, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing okay out there, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Take care.